Hello everyone, I welcome you to the online lecture series of architectural planning and design of buildings. In the last video, we have learned the concept about planning of residential buildings. In that lecture, we have gone through the various concepts or the requirement of residential buildings, functional requirement, planning requirement that we have seen. Now today our topic is planning of the public buildings. So in the today's lecture, what we are supposed to see is the introduction, types of buildings as per National Building Code, requirements of public buildings, that means the functional requirement or the minimum requirements of the public buildings. Then we have today some case studies are there that we have to see how the public buildings can be planned or what are the different things which are need to be considered at the time of public buildings. In that we'll see the planning of a school building or a college building. Then we're going to see the planning of post office building, then hostel building, and the planning of a hospital building or a healthcare center. So we'll start with the introduction of a building. So as per National Building Code of India 2005, the buildings are classified based upon the occupancies. Here in the flow chart we can see the different types or the classification of buildings. So there are 9 types of buildings: residential, educational, institutional, assembly, mercantile, business, industrial, hazardous, and the storage buildings. So in this different categories buildings are classified. Now residential building we have already seen in the last lecture. Now we'll apart from these types, there are the buildings can be classified on the basis of the occupancies and the functions that we have seen. The different types of buildings that also we have seen. Now which building comes under which category, that we are going to see. If we consider the assembly buildings, the assembly means what? It is a building or a part thereof where groups of people gather for amusement, recreation, social, religious, patriotic, civil, travel or a similar purpose. So the assembly building includes the building of drama, cinema theatres, city halls, town halls, auditorium, exhibition halls, museums, marriage hall, skating rinks, gymnasium, restaurant seating or boarding houses, place of worship, that means temple, mosque, churches, dance halls, clubs, gymkhanas, etc. So all these things are come under the assembly building. Okay, so I think you are getting what is there or what does the assembly building includes. Then the second type is the business building we are going to see. Business building means any building or part thereof used for transaction of record. So therefore office buildings, banks, all the professional establishments, courthouses classified as a business buildings. If their principal functions is transaction of business or keeping of books and records, that comes under the business buildings. Okay. Then if we consider the residential building, which we have already seen in the last lecture, there comes the detached houses, semi-detached houses, row houses, apartments, etc. Okay, so that we are quite familiar with the residential building. Now, if we consider the educational building, the educational building means a building which is exclusively used for the school or college, recognized by the appropriate board or university or any other competent authority involving assembly for the instruction, education or recreational incidental to the educational use. Any including a building for such other uses incidental such as a library or research institution. It shall also include a quarters for essential staff required to reside in the premises and a building used a hostel captive to an educational institution, whether situated in its campus or not. So, this is what the educational building is, and what comes under the educational buildings. Okay. Now, if we consider the hazardous building, the storage, handling, manufacture or processing of any hazardous substances or such as radioactive substances or substances which are highly combustible or explosive materials or the products which are liable to burn with extreme rapidity and are producing the poisonous fumes or explosive gases, that building is called as a hazardous building. The storage, handling, manufacture or processing of which involves highly corrosive, toxic or the alkalis, acids or other liquids, gases or chemicals producing flame and explosive mixtures, or which result in the division of matter into fine particles and capable of the spontaneous ignition, that comes under the hazardous buildings. Now, if you see the industrial building, so industrial means what? The industrial building means a building or part thereof wherein products or material are fabricated, assembled, processed, such as assembly plants, laboratories, power plants, refinery, gas plants, milled dairies and factories, etc. That comes under the industrial buildings. Okay. So, please note that what is the difference between business buildings and industrial buildings. Industrial buildings are the buildings which are deal with the material or the fabrication process, power plants, refineries, etc., whereas the business buildings are used for the transaction of record. So, which means offices, banks, all the professional offices, court building, professional establishment, that comes under the business building. Okay. Next is institutional building. Okay. Again, there is a difference between institutional and educational. Many of us are getting confused between the institutional building and educational building. So, many students have raised a query that, sir, whether the college or school comes in under the institutional building category or educational building category. So, the school or a college building comes under the educational building category, whereas institutional building means a building constructed by a government, semi-government, public sector undertakings, registered charitable trust for their public activities such as education, medical, recreational and cultural, hosts for working women or men, or for an hospice, care of orphans, abandoned women, children and infants. So, that comes under the institutional building, providing the sleeping accommodation and includes dharamshala, hospital, houses of correction, detention and reformatories building constructed for the promotion of tourism such as starred hotels, clubs, golf course, sports stadium and all the activities of tourist unit as may be declared by the government from time to time. So hospitals, then dharmashalas, then golf course, 5-star, 3-star hotels, that comes under the institutional building. Okay, so please note the difference in educational and the institutional building. Then if we see the mercantile building, mercantile building means a building or a part thereof used as a shop or market for display and sale of wholesale or retail goods, or including the offices, storage and service facilities, that comes under the mercantile building. Okay, so basically mercantile building is say for example a vegetable market is there or a shopping complex is there, that we can categorize these buildings in the mercantile building head. Okay, right. After that we'll go for the now I think we have almost covered all the types of buildings. Now today we are going to discuss how to plan a public building. Okay, so apart from the residential building, all the other buildings such as business buildings, educational building, institutional buildings, that comes under the public building categories. Okay, so there are, as far as the building is considered, there are only two categories which are based on the classification based on the purpose or use of the building. The first type is the residential building, which we have seen in the last video lecture, and the second type of building is called as a public building, in which all the other types of buildings such as educational, institutional, industrial, mercantile comes under this category, that is a public building. So it is very vast, and today we are going to discuss how to plan the public buildings and what are the different requirements, area wise requirements of the public building. Okay, so apart from all these types of building, there are some special type of buildings also. The special building means a building which is solely used for the purpose of drama or the cinema theatre, motion picture, drive-in theatre, an assembly hall or an auditorium, town hall, lecture hall, an exhibition hall, theatre museum, stadium, community hall, marriage hall, etc. So it is a special type of building which is used for the special purpose. Okay, so centrally air conditioned building which exceeds 15 meters in case wherein building is constructed on the stilt. This is the criteria for the special building. Okay, now we'll go to discuss the functional requirements of the planning of a public building. So in that, if you think about the requirements of the public buildings, so if you take any type of public building, whether it is a institutional building, whether it is a educational building or a mercantile place or any public building, type of public building, there are some common requirements which need to be taken care by the planner or an engineer. So these common requirements are: entrance or the reception should be there, sanitary block requirement, then parking space and cycle stand or vehicle stand, circulation space, plumbing services, telecommunication services, and of course a Wi-Fi or a internet services, which is these days it is very essential. Okay, so these are some common requirements which needs to be taken care at the time of planning of a public building. Okay, now the first case study or the first planning of the public building we are going to see, that is the planning of a college building or a school building. So here you can see the image of the photograph of our college, that is Sri Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Engineering College, Ahmednagar. It's a type of a institutional building. Now if you want to plan a college or a school building, then the first step that we need to do is first we have to list out the various units which are to be used in the school and the college building. So which are that units that we have to list out? So first, in the table you can see we have to plan entrance or a reception should be there, office and administrative area will be there, of course the classroom will be there, then staff room, library, laboratories, drawing halls, seminar hall or an auditorium, circulation space must be there sufficient, then parking space, cycle stand, as we have discussed in the earlier slide, then sanitary blocks should be there, a workshop will be there, canteen will be there, and the other facilities which are remained here. Okay, so these first we have to list out all the things which we need to provide in the college building or the school building. Okay, so after that, what are the minimum requirements of the educational or the school buildings that we have to see, but before that we know that there are 10 principles of planning which we need to be implemented at the time of planning of any type of building. So as far as the planning of the principles of planning of the buildings are concerned, so what we have to do is the classrooms and library should be of the northern aspect. So we know the principles of planning: aspect, prospect, then privacy, roominess, elegance, etc. So as far as aspect of the rooms are concerned, the classrooms and library should have the northern aspect. The principal office should be as close to the administrative department and near to the entrance. So it is quite obvious that when someone enters the college or the school, then who is totally unknown to the college or the school, so he may get an easy access to the towards the principal, so that he will get the information about the institute and the college. So principal cabin or principal's office should be as close to the administrative department and which is near to the entrance. Okay, so the layout of the building may be of L or B and E type or the C type, C shape. So layout means the shape of the building will be L type or E type or the C type, whichever you want to plan. You can plan in any type of shape, but it must be having L, C or the E type shape. Okay. Then sanitary blocks and water traps should be placed in each wing in such a manner that they are easily accessible to all the units. Okay, so if we are planning the public building or the educational building or a college building, and if we are planning in the various wings such as A, B, C, D, E, say we are planning for 5 wings, then we should take care that in every wing there should be a sufficient number of sanitary blocks and water taps, and which are to be placed in such a manner that these are easily accessible to all the units. Okay. So other important units like the assembly hall, gymnasium, library, common room, staff room, such as then playground must be provided as per the codal provision of various units according to Indian Standard 8827 1978. So this is the IS code which is used for the functional requirement of the public buildings or the area requirements of the functional buildings. Okay, so now as far as these units are concerned that we have listed out, the minimum requirements of a college building or the school building are entrance or reception. If we consider the area requirement should be, it should have the sufficient width, that is minimum 2.5 meter width should be there with an area of 10 to 20 square meter. Then the classroom should be of any size between 4.5 by 6 meter to 7 by 10 meters, and it is totally depend on the number of students who are going to sit in that classroom. Okay. Then administrative office, it should have a minimum area of 20 to 40 square meters. Teachers room will be having the area of almost 14 square meter, and the drawing hall, as far as the drawing hall is concerned, if we want to plan a drawing hall, then it is dependent on the number of students. So per students 3 to 4 square meter area should be given for the drawing hall. Same for the laboratory, 3 to 4 square meter area per student will be assigned for the design of the laboratory. Then seminar hall for 5.5 to 0.6 square meter area per student will be given for the to sit in a seminar hall. The circulation space should be 1 to 2 meter wide passages should be provided in the educational building so as to have a better environment, and the ventilation requirement must be fulfilled. Last is the library. Library should be of 80 to 95 square meter area for 1500 students should be there. So these are the minimum requirements. We can go for the we can provide larger size of the rooms in the planning of the college building. Okay. So next is, if we see the sanitary block requirement for the college building, then the water closet or WCs should be provided. For male it is 1 WC per 40 students must be provided, and for female it is 1 per 25 students. Their urinals for males obviously it is 1 per 20 students. If we consider the wash basin, number of wash basins, so 1 per 40 students wash basin must be there, and for female also it is 1 per 40 students. Water taps for 50 students 1 number of water taps will be there, and for 50 female students 1 number of water tap will be there. Okay. Then the requirement of parking. College and school buildings are at the time of planning, it is very necessary to give or to provide the parking space to the institute. So for a cycle the minimum area must be provided as 1.1 square meter, for a scooter 1.5 square meter, for a car it is 4 square meter, and for bus it is 7.5 square meter area. These are the minimum requirements for the parking. Okay, now here there is a sample drawing or the line plan of a school building. Here we can see the classrooms are there, then laboratories are there, office is there, principal cabin is there. Near the principal cabin there are urinals, WC, wash basin is there, storeroom is there, staff room is there. In front of office the counter is there so as to access the students and to get their work done at the office or administrative office. Then we can see that the shape of this building is a C type shape. You can go for L type shape, you can go for E type shape also, whichever is convenient that you can go for. Okay. So as far as the sizes are concerned, we are free to take the sizes any sizes you want, but the sizes are totally dependent on the whether it is a school or whether it is a college, or number of students, how many number of students will be there. So on that basis the sizes of the rooms or classrooms shall be finalized. Okay. So this is about the college building and the school building. Now next another type of building is the post office building. Okay, so if we want to plan a post office building, then again we have to list out the various units which are to be used in the post office building. So for what we go to the post office, the purpose is to send the couriers for a telegram or the letters. Okay, so that we have to first list out the units. So there are the common units which are used in the post office as entrance and circulation space, counters, the height and width of the counters we need to finalize, then the postmaster's room, working space behind the counters, sorting of the letter for sorting space, a parking space, and of course a sanitary blocks. Okay. So now as far as these units are concerned, there are some minimum area requirements. If we consider the entrance and circulation space, 2 meter wide it should be there, at least 2 meter wide entrance will be there and the circulation space will be there. As far as the height and width of the counters is considered, the height of the counter shall be of 1.6 to 1.8 meter and the width of the counters will be of 0.4 to 0.8 meters. Postmaster's room, it should have a minimum area of 9 square meter and the working space behind the counters will be at least equal to 3 meter wide. The sorting space for it is dependent on the number of postmen. So for each postman 2 to 3 square meter area will be required for sorting the letters, telegrams and the couriers, etc. Then parking space is depending on the locality of the post office. Say if the post office is located in the very small city or the town, the parking space will required is less as compared to the parking space which is required for the post office which is situated in the metropolitan city. So that it is to be taken as per our convenience and the location of the post office. Then sanitary blocks requirements are there. Okay, so this is the typical plan of the post office building. So here you can see at the entrance, very near to the entrance, there is a cabin of postmaster or postmaster's rooms will be there. It is of 9 square meter area. Then on the left hand side, the writing stands are there. So we know that in the post office there are writing stands are there. We need to draft, or sometimes we need to add the address on the letters. So it needs a writing space. So the writing stands are provided. Then 5 counters are there, such as stamp counter for a stamp, money order, then letters for the speed post, parcel or the telegram, and the height of the counter is 1.6 meter is provided, whereas the width is 0.7 meter, and the gate is there so that the ordinary people cannot enter the area or the sorting area, which will create the disturbance to the workers. Okay, so behind these counters there is a sorting area is provided, and which is that we have discussed, 3 square meter per postman is provided, and the store room is there, which is quite large to store the letters or the telegrams or the couriers. Then beside the store room there are urinals and the WCs which are provided, and a drinking water space is provided, which is very near to the urinals and the WCs. Behind the postmaster's room there is a meeting room or the board room is provided, so as to take the meetings with the workers. If the postmasters if he want to give any instructions to the workers or the postmans, then he may take the meeting at the meeting room. Okay, so this is how the post office shall be planned, and these are the requirements which need to be taken care for the planning of a post office. Then we'll see the planning of a hostel building. So again we need to list out the various units which are there in the hostel building, such as entrance, circulation space, rooms, they are either single or double, recreation hall, dining hall, kitchen, parking space, and the sanitary blocks. Okay, so as far as the entrance is concerned, it should be 3 meter wide. There are 2 types of room. If it is a single seated room, then the area will be 9.3 square meter per head. If it is a 2 seated room, then the area will be 7.5 square meter per head. The circulation space required is 9 square meter. Recreational hall shall be designed with the 2 to 3 square meter area per head, and the dining hall will be again it is have a minimum area requirement as 3 to 4 square meter per head, and the kitchen will be of minimum size of 2.75 to 3 meter, and of course the parking space will be required as per the convenience, or it is provided as per the convenience. Okay. Now sanitary blocks. As this is the hostel buildings, we need bathrooms also, so we have included the bathrooms also. WC or water closets for male students or boys, 1 per 10 occupants. For female it is 1 per 8 occupants. Bathrooms for 1 per 10 students. For female it is 1 per 10 students. Urinals for male, 1 for every 25 boys, and wash basin is provided for both male and female, for 1 for every 10 students. Okay. So these are the sanitary block requirements in a hostel building. This is the typical plan of a hostel buildings. Here you can see there are 2 staircases, then at the entrance itself there is a warden's room, then kitchen and mess is there at the ground floor itself. Bathrooms and toilet or toilet block is there. Then the rooms are, various rooms are there, which are of different sizes. Then the common room or a recreational facility is provided, and 1 meter passage is also provided in the hostel building. So here in this fashion you can plan a hostel building. You can change your dimensions, or you can go for a different shape as per your convenience. That is doesn't matter. So but the thing is, you need to consider or the list out what are the different structure units which are need to be considered at the time of planning of any hostel building. Okay. So last we are going to see the hospital building or the institutional building. So again we need to list out the various units which are used in the hospital building. So there is the entrance and waiting space, doctors rooms are there, operation theatre, medical store, emergency hall, outdoor patient departments, then sanitary blocks, etc. So as far as the area requirement is concerned, the entrance and waiting space provided shall be of minimum 2 meter wide. Doctor's room should have a minimum size of 2.75 by 4 meter. Then the operation theatre will be of the minimum size of 3 to 4 meter. Emergency is also having the size of 3 to 4 meters. Outdoor patient departments is of the size of 3 to 4 meters, and the medical store is of minimum size of 15 square meter at least. Okay. So as far as the sanitary blocks are concerned, the water closet should be provided, 1 for every 100 male and 2 for every 100 females. For urinals, 1 for every for 50 males, and wash basin is provided for both male and female, 1 for every 100 male and female. Okay. So this is the typical plan of a hospital building. There are different units. Medical store is there, emergency room is there. On the at the entrance itself, it is a there is a reception counter is there. OPD is there, toilet block, then the doctor's room, nurses room, various wards such as general ward, special rooms are there, operation theatre is there, toilet block is also included. So in this way we you can plan a hospital building, keeping the view that what are the different units which are used in the hospital. There are some other units also which are not there in this plan, such as X-ray rooms, then the other OPDs such as ENT specialist, then heart specialist, cardiac specialist. That also you can implement in this plan. If you want to plan for a G+1 or G+2 hospital, then you can implement such a super specialty facilities in the hospital. Okay. So this was about the today's lecture, that is the planning of public buildings. I hope you have understood the concept of planning of public buildings, and what are the different parameters or the requirements which are need to be considered at the time of planning of public buildings. Okay. In the next lecture we are going to see another examples of the public buildings, and what are the different functional requirements of the public buildings that we are going to see. I thank you very much for the today's lecture. Thank you very much.